off with the Uranus ban is really, really smart here. I think that's where GEEK FAM Indonesia probably wanted to start off, should have started off with in the previous draft, because Uranus was very hard to pick off, even with all the heroes coming in, even with all the heroes that they had, it's still not a guarantee to lock him down. But BIGETRON going to continue to follow their guns, banning out the Claude as well. GEEK FAM Indonesia, do they want to get rid of the Kaja here? No, the Esmeralda. Oh yeah, GEEK FAM Indonesia is on red side, so they don't have to worry about it.
One of GEEK FAM Indonesia play kind of remind me of our producer Lola. Is it just me?
What? Which one? Which one? Oh! Okay, inside jokes aside.
Yes! You have to agree. Kind of! From the side.
Yeah, okay, that's fair, that's fair.
Okay, but we gotta see a Ling's game this time. Is it wise to let go of Ling? We've seen Ling and Angela. I do want to see it again, but Atlas, again, is one of the priority picks out there. Will they bring out Atlas and Loyi this time? Because Loyi got banned out in the last game.
Potentially. I think Loyi might be a pretty good pick coming in for BIGETRON Esports here. They can arguably... This is one of the few situations where Diggy doesn't look too bad. However, he is really struggling in the meta, especially since he wants to be aggressive. However, he is a very squishy target. Despite having a great ultimate, doesn't scale very well into the game.
They want more sustainability from the side of BIGETRON. We can see that they don't like too many squishy heroes on the side of BIGETRON. But Lancelot this time will be picked by GEEK FAM Indonesia. They do have Kaja on their side.
They do have Kaja, but it's still going to be difficult to lock down the Ling regardless. So instead of going for your traditional hyper carry, who's probably going to get run down by the Thamnos, by the Atlas, by the Ling, going for the Lancelot here just to kind of buy time. Like, oh, you're jumping on me, perfect execution out of the way. Look to lunge onto a minion. Look to create as much distance as possible to allow the rest of GEEK FAM Indonesia to kind of collapse after BIGETRON Esports uses their big ticket cooldowns.
Well, better to have Purify even though it's being nerfed here. You can see how much trouble they have to go through just to fight against this Atlas before.
I mean, Purify most likely is going to go onto their mage because, I mean, Flame Shot sounds like a good idea. However, like, there's too many things that just says no.
I miss Flame Shot games.
Yeah. Oh, looks like GEEK FAM Indonesia wants to bite onto the Valir here, knowing, looks like, yeah, they want to go for the Valir. I like the composition so far. Very versatile. Has some disengage, has some re-engage here. BIGETRON looking for some hard engage overall, so they're even going to hover over the Cho as well, just to have that add-off, pick-off potential. Unfortunately, I mean, honestly, Kaja wouldn't be too bad in their composition, but we're talking about Kaja here. Kaja goes in everything.
I think the key point here will be the Valir. If the Valir didn't get caught by any picked off, he's probably going to help a lot of his team. He's going to be the playmaker. Speaking of which, if they try to engage with the Fatal, he can just push them away with the Searing Torrent. And have you seen Valir with a tank build before?
No.
It's just incredible, especially if they have Cho, which they cancel it out last minute. If you have that tank Valir on the side and they have Cho in a Way of Dragon, even though you got yourself a high and dry, you can't kill that Valir.
Yeah, and it looks like, I definitely thought for a second there that they were going for another tank support, but instead they go for the Boxia.
There's going to be an off-lane Boxia, obviously. Probably, Kaja is quite decent when it comes to side lanes, too.
I mean, it kind of depends.
But this is a bit of a risky thing to do on the side of GEEK FAM Indonesia because they are depending a lot on that Lancelot to just carry this game out. It's going to be a super heavy hyper carry on that Lancelot.
Yeah, but let's remember here, a lot of burst damage coming in from both teams. It's about who makes the first move, who it probably is going to lose this. So if BIGETRON can't find enough of a lead to really punish GEEK FAM Indonesia, I think they're going to have a tough time because GEEK FAM Indonesia will drag out fights as long as possible and Ling will run out of that energy.
Was that Wong Coco that we said about our producer's face just now? I think it was Wong Coco.
I'm not going to say anything.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I like to keep my job.
I cannot. Well, I like Wonko is the captain of a team, so yeah, he's pretty good looking. So I'm actually saying good stuff up there.
What are you hinting here? What's going on here? I'm confused.
Never mind that. Back about GEEK FAM Indonesia's second game versus BIGETRON. Can they take this one for the side of GEEK FAM Indonesia? They are really in the dire need to win this one because if they don't, it's gonna be a tough game for them to actually just play for Group C anymore. It's gonna be tough. They're actually at the bottom of the very bottom, so they cannot afford more losses here. While Bravo struggling, Repo on the other hand being harassed back by Ramsey, who dive way too in. Repo kind of learned his lesson, but not enough. Apparently still poking that damage on. Same goes for Bravo.
Yeah, just notice how BIGETRON and GEEK FAM Indonesia are playing. Their side laners are looking to be brick walls, and the moment you take away the Uranus opening, it kind of opens up the side lanes a little bit more. So you can see the export, you can see the Thamos. However, noticing at level 1 that a lot of supports actually have some decent base damages. They can make things happen in the wave. Oh, but it looks like a full-on fight here coming in through the middle of the map. GEEK FAM Indonesia slowly retreating out of there as the rest of BIGETRON looking for a catch. They find Joker, but he's not a priority target, so they're gonna have to walk away. But look at the people who got chunked out. Ripple as well as Bravo both have to recall, which means that GEEK FAM Indonesia for once in a very long time will have lane priority of top and bottom.
Yep, and I like the fact that they kind of learned their lesson from based on last game here. Their rotation this time are a bit faster than the last game, and it actually contribute a lot to as a team here. We're talking about they almost got themselves a blue buff on the other side of the map, but they still managed to put up a good fight. Nobody died, no first blood yet, but it's enough. But at the same time, they are infiltrating the other base. BIGETRON trying to get for the red buff. They managed to get so. It's a bit too late for the side of Doyoks here. So they are not actually prioritizing that red buff. Going in, a lot of hammered down spells being dropped down and trying to get the kills over that Tempest of Blade coming up from Brest, running away straight away. That was last tick of health of Kagura. They didn't manage to finish off. If only they have Flame Shot, that's going to be a secure kill, but unfortunately, they're going to lose that one out.
Oh, that was so good for the side of GEEK. Oh, wait, they actually get the first blood onto Alice here, but that was really, really well done. Coming in from GEEK FAM Indonesia, they had priority over the lanes, and now that allowed them to actually get first rotation, which made such a huge impact in that fight. BIGETRON, unfortunately, losing a member. Oh, is going to get one shot? Nope, instead, he is going to flicker on out of there.
He just waited that flicker to be used on that exact time. He knows he's waiting for that last insanity to be popped out. He was saving that for such a long time. Such a patient guy. Back about Doyoks, he's going for a full hyper carry. We're talking about he trying to finish off whatever he can with all the minions, all the jungles, clearing it out as fast as possible, but apparently not fast enough to get his own red buff. Will it cost him the whole game here? We have to wait and see. Oh, that Tornos kind of missed execution. Just going to run away for a defensive... question this. Will they secure the kill? They did manage to get one. Will they get one more with that volley? Trying to throw all the fireballs right in front of Dream face here, but not going to be enough. Straight away, going for the turtle next. So they go for more objective. They're not as slacking as they were in the first game here. Dream's still going to go down no matter what he's trying to do. They're still going to get this turtle and get the extra kill. That's a big bonus for them.
Yep, but this is so good for Psychic GEEK FAM Indonesia. Their level 4s are much stronger than BIGETRON, and they can't really do too much here except look to scale into the game. GEEK FAM being very aggressive here, jumping in and invading onto King Brands. He uses the Tempest, but it's not going to stop him. It's not going to keep him alive long enough as Doyo instantly pops him immediately after.
Well, on top, we do see they're trying to battle out for the lanes here, Xbox and also Bastia, but apparently mid is still a hot, heated place to go. And Doyoks still pushing a lot of momentum on this side. They didn't do the mistake they did for the first game here. They're not slacking off at all. They just keep on rotating, keep on pushing, and they know their mistake just now was, the moment they got themselves that kill, they just go back to their own respective lane and to focus on farming, which they're not doing it this time. Now they're trying to pick off another one on Bravo. Bravo knows what's coming for him. Straight away, gonna back off for a bit while mid try to push it as much as possible. We do see a Dreams try to steal away that red buff on top. On the other hand here, Joker open up the map. KYY tossing a lot of yin and yang, but it's not going to be enough still. But they are stealing back the red buff. Well, this scales quite perfectly well for GEEK FAM Indonesia so far.
No, this is a really good adaptation actually from GEEK FAM Indonesia, because they know that BIGETRON have this habit of going for these invades, especially when they know the buff timers for your opponent. So instead what they did is they cut the map in half and they would do this thing called vertical jungling, looking to take their own blue buff and then invading the red buff side for the side, for GEEK FAM Indonesia, because they know they have to dedicate a lot more members to that top side because of this gold deficit and because of this snowball that has begun for the side of Geek Fam Indonesia.
And at the same time, looking at Link's item, probably going to go for the Endless Battle straight away. He knows he cannot sustain too much for the fights. He needs to go a bit more 50-50 damage and also sustain items for himself. He wouldn't go straight for damage items, which going to be Doyok's side. He probably going to finish off with a BOD first for his first core items. On the other hand, on the mid lane, we do see that jumping with a bouncing ball coming from Joker, just going to harass away Dreams to back off a bit. For now, they got themselves the dominant side of the map here. We're talking about getting twice turtle here in a row, while we have Basha Ipin coming up from the back line, going straight in for their buff. Again, Ipin has nowhere to go. Oh, he's trying to open up Tempest. Will it be enough? He can actually run away for King Brands, while the rest of the team, Bigetron, being smacked down here by Doyo's trying to get after one kill another. He still have his last insanity. Did he, Repo?
Yeah, he had his last insanity. He already used it. Oh, Dreams as well going down. Looks like it's going to be a 2-for-2 instead. But Rippo really smart with the immortality there. That really saved them a free kill for the side of for his team. Not too bad, but I think that was a very risky play coming in from Geek Fam Indonesia, because that was very much a 50-50. It could have gone both ways.
They took that 50-50 this time, and it's worthwhile more than ever, because they were too cautious last game, and that cost them the whole game. Why not just gamble it out? They have nothing else to lose now.
Well, I don't know. It feels very like uncharacteristic, because you don't want to take these 50-50s as the team that's leading in the gold. If you're behind, those 50-50s become way more important, because that's your only opportunity to really come back into this game. But Geek Fam Indonesia starting, I don't know how long they're going to take these 50-50s, but they really
have to. They have to. If they don't take the 50-50, that 50 going to go back towards King Brands here. He has himself quite being harassed. At the same time, he has no room to farm. They cannot lose this momentum for Geek Fam Indonesia. One mistake, one slacking off moment, they will cost themselves the whole game like they did before. They're having it great, but they need to push more. They need to push the middle lane. They clear out the top lane so far. Still one tower left in the bottom, but they need to push in the middle lane, because that middle lane will cost them that turtle, which is going to be the lot for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, and more importantly, if they get that mid-tier 1, at least Geek Fam Indonesia will have more access to the jungles of Bigetron Esports with nowhere to retreat. That just means that you're going to force them back into their base.
Yeah, I'm going to have to wait and see this. If they manage to shut down Doyok, there's no more damage output dealer on the side of Geek Fam Indonesia. They have to shut him down if they want to come back into the game. So all down to the tanks and support to please himself how to bait Doyok to actually chase them and making sure he couldn't get himself that kill that he needed to be. Jumping in, Joker going for the buff again. They tried to go in. Perfect execution is just perfect this time. Dreams last take of his health. No, he can land that fatal links. Branson was forced to use that Tempest for defensive. Instead going for full offensive this time. They will be forced to go for a retreat while they are regen themselves. That Tyrant's Rage was perfect. Going for repo. They're not even having a breather at all for Bigetron Esports. No room to farm for Branson. He got himself that double buff, but can he just play split push for now? Will it be enough time for them?
I think at this point in time, Bigetron can't really do anything about the situation. So the best they can do is look for gold across the map, make sure that they are trying to stay even in gold no matter where. And if you're getting pushed in and you know you can't really win the fight, the most you can do is push the wave. So there's no... Oh, no. Great prediction coming in from Geek Fam Indonesia, making sure, but King Brands is still alive. He gets hit with the Retribution as Doyo just jumps right on top of him with that lunge.
A lot of flying and jumping heroes in this game. Apparently, Lancelot and Ling. Lancelot is way faster when it comes to clearing the lanes. But back about the bottom lane, Red Buff obviously will be stolen off by the side of Geek Fam Indonesia. So all they need right now is open up the space, open up the map, so they can just push as much as possible and make sure they have themselves that fatal link a bit. Oh, didn't manage to finish off Joker. Not enough. That 4-person bursting damage just for one single tank with his Joker. He's too tanky for them for now, and that's almost like, I'd say just 50% of damage output coming from Kagura. They still need that link to finish the job though.
Bigetron still, again, 7k gold deficit, making it very evident that they're even struggling to kill Joker of all people. So they're just going to have to play this game much slower than they're used to. And Bigetron need to wait a little bit longer to really scale into this game, because they're really hoping that King Brands is going to come online sometime soon. He needs that Berserker's Fury.
When it comes to prolong the game, probably have a better chance here on the side of it. It will be BIGETRON, but again, they fight against in the blue buff zone. Dreams were forced to just blink out. He is just flickering away. He cannot help his team. Bravo, Volcanic just tried to sustain himself from dying, but it's almost impossible. So much slows coming up from Joker's side. There's also Epin throwing out a lot of blaze just now. No regen for them. So that's a huge win for the side of GEEK FAM Indonesia. Straight away going for the Lord. While we have on the side is Epin open up the map, making sure he give a lot of information where the whereabouts of BIGETRON Esports members, so they will not be contested. This is a free Lord for them. Hopefully they will utilize it fully, because we're going to jump into the third game if GEEK FAM can just seal the game towards their side.
Yeah, and I think BIGETRON Esports has some really terrible habits that GEEK FAM has picked up on, going for the buffs, a little too over hesitant coming in from King Brands, where he should have waited for the rest of his team to kind of face check the rest of the brushes.
He went in first.
Going. Yeah, going in first was the issue. And there's nothing much you can really do once you get hit by the Divine Judgment. You kind of have to pray that someone messes up the chain CC, because GEEK FAM Indonesia has shown that they can execute somebody without giving them an opportunity to get out of there.
That's the thing when you use some heroes like Ling or Lancelot, for example. These heroes, they can actually moving very fast. So you kind of forget that the rest of your teammates, especially the tanks, is like super slow. And you get ahead of them, and just face checking with yourself is not going to be a wise decision at all, obviously. But going in, Ipin is just diving from the back line here. He's trying to bait everybody's ultimate, but that last insanity will force being popped for the Lord, and now they're struggling to make sure they can just defend their base. Ipin is low, but he still pops his immortality. But at the same time, Doyoung, didn't manage to get away. Will it be a huge mistake? Because we are looking at 2v5 in the mid lane just now, while the rest of the team of GEEK FAM Indonesia tried to split bottom. Was it wise for them to do that?
I think they got a little too ahead of themselves here. They were getting a bit overconfident. The 2v5 definitely wasn't necessary, especially since the rest of GEEK FAM Indonesia were nearby. But now they're going to once again contest for this blue buff. King Brands not having to worry about the carries can really start putting the hurt into the enemy team, as GEEK FAM Indonesia realized this a little too late. They're slowly rotating out, but Ramzu is going to be the first to go down here, as the Dreams brings him back with the Fatal Links. One more. They want to get this snowball going as BIGETRON Esports close the gap in gold. They just need one more good team fight. However, this inhibitor taking a bit of damage. No, is it going to break? No, Link should be able to make it in time.
Yeah, but it's a huge mistake being done by GEEK FAM Indonesia just now. If only they were 5 men in mid with the Lord marching in at the same time, probably they already sealed this game by now. But they're a bit too greedy. If you ask me, they want to secure 2 lanes, but they get none. And that's pretty painful to just, take that fact that they lost that huge fight. And even, well, Ipin just being Ipin there.
Yeah, he's not sure whether he wants to go. He doesn't know where the rest of the enemy team is, so he's waiting for information from his team before they go in. Now that it's pushed up quite far up, if BIGETRON decide to go for Baxia here, that just means that GEEK FAM Indonesia is going to be pushing into the inhibitor. So that's why Baxia can just walk up and not feel afraid, even if there are 5 members hiding in some kind of brush.
And now Dreams waiting in the bush, making sure he will actually scout whoever is around him, waiting for the right time to drop that combo again, waiting to see. Doyoung still managed to survive in the last minute. The execution will be used to run away this time, while the rest of BIGETRON pushing. And this time, even though they were being pressured quite bad in the early game, but just one single war, one mistake done by GEEK FAM Indonesia caused the whole game to a bit of a turning tide for the side of BIGETRON. They take the opportunity whenever they can. They have been very patient about it, not overstaying themselves too. They're not getting ahead of themselves, just like what GEEK FAM did in the first game, and they're making the same mistake on the second game here. They shouldn't be overconfident just yet, because anytime they can just win the game for the side of BIGETRON. Speaking of which, Ipin tried to go for the back line again. Dreams tried to position himself to get all 5 men, but it's so hard. Look at how much damage Reaper were just putting out for them, and still managed to steal away that blue buff, but Ipin cost him his life. Joker still jump in. Where are of the rest of a team here. Speaking of which, Doyok tried to do whatever he can in the back line, putting a lot of damage output, while there's a little bit overextended Dreams out there trying to chase that volley, but it's not worth it.
And this is going to be some more free kills for the side of GEEK FAM Indonesia. You can see that King Brands, he understands, okay, this is a done deal. This team fight impossible to win. So instead, he's utilizing the map and his fast rotations, being able to jump from structure to structure to get a good push onto mid to kind of mitigate the amount of damage that GEEK FAM is putting in their economy. And now we can see that it's 44k to 38k, but that's not really going to matter because it's all about the hyper carries and whether or not they have their full items here. And King Brands is getting very close to that. All he needs is is at least 4k.
When it comes to late game, I do prefer BIGETRON Esports lineup because they do have... Oh, look at this. They're just going to take a free kill for Dreams here. Pull it in, but didn't land the Fatal Link on time. And no combo coming out. Can KYYK ask this? Kill still away. No, didn't make it on time. Brent strikes so hard. That's the main core that being shut down just now. They don't have enough damage output. They do have KYY, but will it be enough? I don't think so. They don't have any sustainability heroes, no tanks to cover up for KYY. That's the end of the damage output heroes they have on this side. Only Bravo left with the side of Repo, but I don't think they can 2v5 at this point, plus a lot matching up as well.
Yeah, they have to really... Honestly, I think they might be able to muscle their way through into the core. However, King Brands should be up by then. KYY will be 10 seconds off by the time Lord reaches that inhibitor. So at this point in time, GEEK FAM has to make a choice. Either to look to end the game or follow the textbook and take away those other inhibitors down on mid as well as bottom. And I think that's what they're going to do.
They're not making the same mistake twice here.
catch.
Oh, Repo, no more Firaga armor on him. There goes the Tonros with the execution, just dropping every single hammer they can. Royoks on the last tick of health. They got King Brands here. They bait him out. He still got immortality. Brian will try to run away, but it's just impossible to catch him. He still got stunned by Fireball. Finish it off at the same time by Kaja. And just as that half HP left for the throne, there's nothing else to defend this. Repo will pop last Insanity. It's not going to be enough again. Dream managed to land that Fatal Link, but no follow-up. This is going to be the end of it. Well, Repo managed to just muscle his way. They're trying to just take that throne down. Ramsey forcing it out. Nobody to defend it. That's going to be game 2 for GEEK FAM Indonesia. Take it away.
GG, well played to GEEK FAM Indonesia overall. They definitely well-deserved match coming up.